Speaker, things became a bit clearer for us all this week. For a time, we've been wondering what the leader meant when she delivered her infamous stand up and fight battle cry. She told us 12 times in 90 seconds that she wanted to have a fight with somebody, but we weren't quite sure who the enemy in her head was. I mean, we know in Scotland that she likes having a fight with us. She's always telling us off for disobedience or treachery. In Tory Britain, we Scots really should know our place. But the Chancellor helpfully revealed who else her government wants to fight with. If you're unable to work because of ill health, get ready for battle with the Tories. Yep. If you are amongst the 4 million families destitute in the UK, forget it. No real help for you in your daily struggle to survive. And it's clear from the COVID inquiry, if you're a scientist or, God forbid, an actual expert, gird your loins. In England, Tories fight NHS workers, they fight teachers, they fight local councils, they fight the low-paid. If you're on pensions or benefits, sure, they threw you a few crumbs yesterday from their table, but the ONS says food prices are 30% higher than they were 2 years ago, so they will fight you at the checkout tills. Not a word about fighting billionaires' tax evasion, or fighting dirty money being laundered through London, or fighting the corruption and fraud drenching this government in sleaze. You know, when the Chancellor sat down yesterday, the independent OBR assessed that his measures would bring the largest reduction in living standards since records began. But never mind, I see the other places now debating the London pedicabs bill last night. So we can all calm down knowing this government's focused on the things that really matter. And people ask us why we want to see Scotland independent and away from this bedlam of a place. Now, I realise I'll wait in vain for any actual answers to these questions. Questions like, how is it exactly her government can find fiscal headroom in their budget when some of my constituents in Edinburgh North and Leith can't afford to feed themselves? But isn't it time her profligate government stopped fighting everybody, held an inquiry into itself and the many billions it squandered over the last 4 years?
Well, I thank the Honourable Lady. I'm not in any doubt who I'm standing up and fighting for, the people of this country, and who I'm standing up and fighting against, and the SNP are on that latter list. I'm standing up and fighting against them because, first of all, what she says is not the case. She has spoken about the welfare measures that were announced yesterday. The closing claims measure, she knows, doesn't apply in Scotland, but also does not apply to anyone with disabilities or a child. And I would ask, if she wasn't aware of that, to please read the documents that were put out yesterday and the Chancellor's statement. But if she does know that that is the case, not to say otherwise, I think would be helpful. She lists a number of things and makes various accusations, and I would just again ask her to be a little more self-reflective. It is her party that have been subject to 22 and counting, I think, police investigations. The Serious Fraud Office is investigating GFG, the company to which the Scottish National Party gave hundreds of millions of pounds to guarantee jobs which never materialised, and also just happened to be sponsoring their party conference at the same time. The Honourable Lady likes to lecture my party about values. I'll just ask her, which party is it whose leader smirked while people booed the national anthem? Whose party is it whose activists called BBC reporters traitors? Whose party is it that bullied Conservative Party members attending a conference in Scotland to the extent that it made national news? Whose party is it whose behaviour was so horrific towards its own elected representatives that they said they suffered panic attacks and some of them have crossed the floor? And who is it that is responsible for the bile-fuelled rants that are so evident in Hansard? Once the Honourable Lady has clocked that all these things are her party, she might reflect on why that is the case and the appalling legacy that such a warped, irresponsible displacement activity has ceded to a generation of Scottish children. A wrecked education system, a widening attainment gap, fewer teachers, maths scores declining in every PISA survey, science at a low record, and plummeting literacy rates. But they will have, of course, somewhere safe and warm in which to take heroin. I'm not going to take any lectures from the Honourable Lady about values, responsibility, or performance in office. This is why I will get up every week and stand up and fight against the slopey-shouldered separatism evidenced by the SNP.
Because